please. Would you stand for the flags? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Public notice, Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Adequate public notice has been given pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice have been posted at the board's office and website and emailed to the Department of State and to newspapers of broad circulation within the state.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Holden?
Here.
Commissioner Solomon?
Here.
Commissioner Gordon?
Here.
Commissioner Krista DeLue?
Here.
President Ferlisa.
Here. And our next regularly scheduled meeting?
The next regular board meeting will be on Wednesday, September 28, 2022, at 10 a.m. It will be a hybrid meeting in person at the board hearing room at 44 South Clinton Avenue in Trenton, and a live stream via YouTube.
Thank you. And again, just for those who are live streaming us, you're certainly welcome to attend our meetings in person here at 44 South Clinton in Trenton. We'd love to see you, and I know it's probably more convenient sitting on your couch and watching it live streamed, but it's nothing like being in person. So feel free to come. I trust everyone had a lovely holiday weekend, and I've always said, and I continue to say, that Labor Day is the worst day of the year because it does signal the unofficial end of summer. So, but we have next summer to look forward to, don't we? We will have executive session today, and the board will be addressing the following item in executive session, and it's audits, and it's docket number GA 220-20074, New Jersey Natural Gas. And I don't anticipate it going really more than 10 minutes, but you never know. And we will take action on this item in regular session when we return. May I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Anyone who is not a member of the BPU, I ask that you leave. Well, welcome back. I think we were a lot shorter than 10 minutes. Do I see Cynthia Holland back there?
Yes.
She has a red
You
shoes
used to
on.
be on the good side, weren't you?
I'm still on the good side.
Well, she has her red shoes on. She can click 3 times and say there's no place like home.
And Andrew, it's good seeing you. I think you're the only two non-BPU members here today, except for
Bless you.
Jonathan and so on. So, I have a few opening remarks. Climate Week. The month of September is full of national observances focused on climate change and environmental preservation, including EV Day on September 9th. September 22nd is World Car Free Day, which kicks off Drive Electric Week. Climate Week also takes place this month, which we recognize the week of September 19th. Look for more information as we focus on the work we are doing as a state to improve our climate. There will be some activities during that week, so stay alert to that. On the heels of Climate Week is the New Jersey Clean Energy Conference. And this is the first energy conference we're having in quite a few years. And it's going to be in Atlantic City on October 3 and 4. It's going to be at Harrah's. And those of you who are listening, we encourage you to participate. Please, go to our website and get the information. It should be not only educational, but I think entertaining. And we have some mystery guests who they might be so mysterious they don't show up, but we're hoping they do. And so it's I think it's going to be a great conference, and one that really will highlight what the state of New Jersey is doing and how we are progressing in the clean energy arena. And I think one of the things that has really helped us so far is the fact that we have learned from other entities and other jurisdictions regarding clean energy and the processes that have to go into effect in order for us to be not only competitive, but reliable. And that's the most important thing, reliability. The infrastructure has to be able to accept the clean energy that we want to, quote, plug into it. And we are working with our utilities diligently and in order to ensure that that infrastructure is going to be ready for the clean energy initiatives that we are currently pursuing. It has to be. And also to have backups that are imperative to the reliability aspect, because that's part of our mission, to ensure the fact that we provide reliable service to the 9.3 million people who live in this state. And we never forget that. So it's going to be interesting as we continue on this road. And we can only do it with the cooperation of the citizens of New Jersey, and certainly our utilities. And as we always say, we rather work cooperatively with our utilities rather than dictate. But if necessary, in order to achieve our goals, we may have to order certain things regarding our utilities. So let's all get on board and let's all move in the same direction, because that is important. If we're going in different directions, we're never going to achieve our goals. I think that's it as far as the Clean Energy Month of September is concerned. Do any of my colleagues have any comments they'd like to make?
I do.
Yes?
Just like to piggyback on that, I don't think you can highlight, more importantly, the reliability aspect. And I think that's one thing that this state has done over the years. I keep saying slow and steady wins the race. And we can't just wave a magic wand and say, we're going to do this today, we're going to do it tomorrow. We're seeing how it's failing in other states, and this state may not be first, but we're going to be first in that we're doing it the correct way and finding out and learning from others' mistakes. And as well as, having great staff that's pursuing all these things and finding we have wonderful ideas and put them into action. And that's what's going to be fun about this conference too, is many things that will be offered to us as well as, have you ever thought about? And that's,
That's
we
right.
always try to do at any of these conferences that I know I go to and my colleagues go to, and we all come back with all these great ideas of like, how are we going to implement them? Well, we can't do it all at once. But at least it gives you a thought process. And so I'm pretty excited about this. And
Yeah.
I'm very, very optimistic about the goals for our state, which I'm not so optimistic for other states.
That's true, and everybody learns. We don't pretend to know it all. And that's why these conferences, as you say, are so important, because we learn. We find out things that we didn't know. And that's imperative if we're going to move forward in the right direction. And I always say, move prudently to ensure that reliability and to make sure that the citizens of this state are getting the best bang for their buck. And that's our goal. And we have the tools to do it. We just have to do it. Yes?
One other comment, it also has to be recognized, it's not a state's problem or a United States problem. This is, a global issue, and you can't, Commissioner Holden was right, you just can't wave a magic wand and hope to get it resolved. And in terms of learning from other states, it's what we're learning from those abroad as well, and the issues that, they're running into, certainly, structured differently than we are here in terms of their grid and transmission, but still, not only are we learning, within our boundaries, but certainly outside our boundaries, and, the impacts that we're going to be able to have, we need to see where it is that we can actually have an impact, given the global nature of what we're trying to achieve. So, that I know doesn't go unnoticed, certainly by you and by this board, but I think that it has to be recognized and said that that's also an issue as we move forward.
If there are no other comments, consent agenda, please.
Mr. President?
Oh, I'm sorry.
If I might.
Sure.
Just a personal comment. I really want to thank my fellow commissioners and President Fiordaliso for welcoming me here with open arms. Literally, I think I've given a lot of hugs out over the last month, and I greatly appreciate that. As I've tried to make this, my first month, fruitful and productive, but really most importantly, I want to thank the expert staff, each of you. You have been professional and patient as you've tried to bring me up to speed on some of these issues, and you've given an incredible overview, a comprehensive overview with specific details that I think really distinguishes you from so many of the other professionals I've dealt with in my entire life. So thank you. And I also greatly appreciate your willingness to share your expertise and your knowledge so that we can actually try to solve some of these very complex problems, which you understand, I believe, as well, if not better than anyone that I've ever met. So it is with great respect for your knowledge and great appreciation of your tutelage that we look forward to a clean energy future together. So thank you all very much. President Fiorelliso, thank you so very much.
Thank you, and we're pleased to have you.
Thank you.
Consent agenda.
On consent agenda items 2A, 3A, 3B, 3C, 3D, 4A, and 6A.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
President Fiordaliso?
Yes. Alice, I think you're up, and as I said, when we went into executive session, this was the item that we discussed in executive session and that we would take action on in regular session.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Before you today is the matter involving the commencement of the audit of affiliated transactions of New Jersey Natural Gas Company, its parent, New Jersey Resources Corporation, affiliates and subsidiaries, and a comprehensive management audit of the New Jersey Natural Gas Company. Specifically, before you today is the selection of the consultant. Staff recommends that the board approve staff's recommendation consistent with the discussion in executive session.
So moved. Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
President Fiordaliso?
Yes. You have
Thank
two
you.
easy names at the end. You're doing pretty good, though. Thank you, Alice.
Thank you.
Practice.
Energy? Paul, good morning. New Jersey Natural Gas is the first one.
Correct. On June 1st, New Jersey Natural Gas Company filed its annual BGSS petition seeking approval to modify its current per-therm BGSS, balance in charge, and conservation incentive program rates. Combining the BGSS, balance in charge, and SIP recoveries results in an increase to after-tax revenues of approximately $111.58 million. Through discovery, New Jersey Natural updated its SIP schedules, resulting in after-tax revenue of approximately $107.82 million. The parties have determined that while additional time is needed to complete a review of the petition, it is reasonable and in the public interest for New Jersey Natural to implement provisional rates. The parties have executed a stipulation for provisional rates that would allow New Jersey Natural to provisionally modify the per-therm BGSS, balance in charge, and SIP rates subject to refund. As a result of the stipulation, a typical residential heating customer would experience an increase in their monthly bill of $21.00. Staff recommends that the board issue an order adopting the stipulation for service rendered on and after October 1st, 2022. Direct New Jersey Natural to file revised tariffs by September 30th, 2022, and transmit this matter to the Office of Administrative Law for hearing.
Second.
Questions, comments for Paul? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think it's important to recognize that we are going to be seeing increases in rates in the near future because of the geopolitical events occurring in the world that are affecting the energy markets, and New Jersey unfortunately is not immune to that. So is it fair to say that what we're beginning to see are the effects of just the global energy markets?
Yes, that's correct, Commissioner.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delue?
Yes.
President Fergalisa?
Yes. And 2B, PSE&G, Paul.
I think I said that. Just to correct the bill impact, it's $21.01. I might have said $21 even. Sorry. Okay.
Forgot the penny.
I don't know. I was told I did. So. I might have. Oh, you were? Okay.
We're counting.
2B? Perfect. On June 1st, 2022, Public Service Electric and Gas Company filed its annual BGSS petition seeking approval to increase its current per-therm BGSS and balance and charge rates. PSE&G estimated that an increase in BGSS revenue of approximately $339 million is required for the period October 1, 2022 through September 30th, 2023, in order to eliminate the projected under-recovery. The parties have determined that while additional time is needed to complete a review of the petition, it is reasonable and in the public interest for PSE&G to implement provisional rates. The parties have executed a stipulation for provisional rates that would allow PSE&G to provisionally modify its per-therm BGSS and balance and charge rates, subject to refund. As a result of the stipulation, a typical residential customer would see an increase in their monthly bill of $24.77, which does not include the company's proposed gas SIP filing. Staff recommends that the board issue an order adopting the stipulation for service rendered on and after October 1st, 2022, direct PSE&G to file revised tariffs by September 30th, 2022, and transmit this matter to the Office of Administrative Law for hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Paul, can you explain, just for the general public, and Bob, feel free to jump in too, when a utility under-recovers, what does that mean?
That means that the ratepayers they didn't pay enough. So if you have an under-recovery in the next filing, there would be an increase in rates because we didn't pay enough to the utility to recover their costs associated with that particular matter.
So they're entitled to recover their costs.
Correct.
And by law, they're entitled to do that.
Correct.
Okay, I just want everybody to understand that, because we're gonna have a number of increases here, as Bob indicated, and a lot of it is due to the events of the world and so on, but also due to the fact that utilities by law are guaranteed to recover their charges.
Correct.
Okay. Right. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delue? President Fergalisa?
Yes. C, E-Town Gas?
Sure. On June 1st, 2022, Elizabethtown Gas Company filed its annual BGSS petition seeking approval to modify its current per-therm BGSSP and Conservation Incentive Program rates. The company projects that its recoverable gas costs at the proposed rate would be approximately $57.6 million higher than the level recovered through current BGSSP rates. Elizabethtown provided updated SIP schedules reflecting actual data from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022 that further modified the proposed SIP rates. The parties have determined that while additional time is needed to complete a review of the petition, it is reasonable and in the public interest for Elizabethtown to implement provisional rates. The parties have executed a stipulation for provisional rates that would allow the company to provisionally increase its per-therm BGSSP and modify the SIP rates consistent with the update, subject to refund. As a result of the stipulation, a typical residential customer would see an increase in their monthly bill of $25.33. Staff recommends that the board issue an order adopting the stipulation for service rendered on and after October 1st, 2022. Direct Elizabethtown to file revised tariffs by September 30th, 2022, and transmit the matter to the Office of Administrative Law for hearing.
Second.
Questions, comments?
Paul, if I could just ask a question, the increase in the tariff on this, does that just recover money that was like lost and undercharged, or does it also include prices going forward, assuming that those gas costs and those natural energy, those input costs are going to stay at these levels?
Correct. So it takes in actual costs, but also it projects out for the following year. So this does take into account actual information and projected costs based on the volatility of the market.
So if global circumstances change so that prices come back down to where they were a couple of years ago, then there'll be a refund of sorts.
Yes, and in this instance for BGSS matters, if a utility is trending to be over projected, it doesn't benefit them because they pay an interest rate to ratepayers at the weighted average cost of capital.
Okay.
So in a BGSS matter, there is the ability for a utility to file for a decrease at any time with the board. They just have to provide 5 days notice and they can decrease their rates.
Thanks, Paul.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Commissioner. Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. South Jersey Gas, next
Sure.
one.
On June 1st, 2022, South Jersey Gas Company filed its annual BGSS petition seeking to increase its periodic BGSS rate, increase its balance in service clause, and modify its per-therm conservation incentive program rates. Combining the BGSS, balance in service clause, and SIP recoveries resulted in an increase of $91.3 million, including taxes. The parties have determined that while additional time is needed to complete a review of the petition, it is reasonable and in the public interest for South Jersey to implement provisional rates. The parties have executed a stipulation for provisional rates that would allow the company to provisionally modify its BGSS, balance in charge, and SIP rates subject to refund. As a result of the stipulation, a typical residential heating customer would see an increase in their monthly bill of $31.49. Staff recommends that the board issue an order adopting the stipulation for service rendered on and after October 1st, 2022. Direct South Jersey to file revised tariffs by September 30th, 2022, and transmit this matter to the Office of Administrative Law for hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments?
Just one.
Yes.
With respect to these increases, when do you expect that they will be reflected in actual bills that ratepayers receive?
October 1st, 2022. They'll go into effect,
Okay.
so the bill following that is when it will hit the ratepayers.
Any other questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. And E, we have a Atlantic City Electric item.
Yeah, and this one's a little more lengthy, but on May 12th, 2022, Atlantic City Electric Company filed a letter petition seeking a waiver of requirements of New Jersey Administrative Code 14:1-5.6 and approval of the sale of certain utility assets to Lund's Fishery, Inc. for $70,108 pursuant to NJAC 14 14:1-1.2. Pursuant to NJAC 14:1-5.6 D1, there are certain sales exempted from requiring a petition and board approval where either 1, the sale of an asset is deemed to be in the ordinary course of business, or 2, the sale price of the asset is less than $100,000 and the asset is no longer used by or useful to the utility. Lund approached ACE requesting an analysis of what would be required to change its class of service from secondary service to primary service under ACE's current tariff. ACE advised Lund that the change would require 1, acquiring ACE's utility assets, or 2, independently purchasing and installing similar equipment from a third-party supplier. It is expected that the change in service classification would save Lund approximately $73,000 annually. On July 6, 2022, Rate Counsel filed comments with the board recommending the sale be subject to certain conditions. 1, the accounting for the proceeds of the sale be reviewed in ACE's next base rate case or other appropriate proceeding directed by the board. 2, ACE should credit the proceeds from the sale to its deferred liability account with interest to accrue for the benefit of ratepayers from the time of closing on the sale until ACE's next base rate case. And 3, Rate Counsel reserves all rights to review ACE's accounting for all costs and revenues from the installation, ownership, operation, maintenance, and sale in ACE's next base rate filing or other appropriate proceeding for prudency, recoverability, and allocation. On August 8, 2022, ACE filed reply comments with the board, stating that from an accounting perspective, there would be no gain or proceeds on the sale, since the purchase price represents the value of the undepreciated utility assets, which offsets the property, plant, and equipment balance sheet account, and requested that this recommendation not be included in the board's order. Staff recommends that the board grant ACE's waiver request and approve the sale subject to these conditions. 1, ACE shall notify the board and Rate Counsel if it anticipates any material changes in the sale. 2, the board and Rate Counsel retain all rights to review all accounting, costs, and proceeds related to the acquisition, installation, ownership, operation, maintenance, and sale of the assets in ACE's next base rate case or other appropriate proceeding. 3, approval of the sale does not include or imply any position as to the prudency, recoverability, or allocation of the cost of acquiring, owning, operating, maintaining, or selling the assets. And 4, the board shall not affect nor in any way limit the exercise of the order shall not affect nor in any way limit the exercise of the authority of the board or of the state in any future petition or in any proceeding with respect to rates, franchises, service, financing, accounting, capitalization, depreciation, or any other matter affecting ACE.
So moved.
Second?
Questions, comments? Yes, Bob?
Just for the benefit of those listening, it should be understood that by granting this waiver, we are going to be saving the ratepayers some money, because otherwise there would be an additional expenditure which would be passed on to the ratepayers. And by granting this waiver, that's not happening, so ratepayers will not have to bear that burden.
Correct. So if
Correct.
yeah. So if Lund chose The second option, to go out and purchase similar equipment and have it installed from a third-party supplier. The useful life on the assets of ACES that Lund is actually purchasing would not be fully depreciated at that time. There's still useful life, so yes, this transaction is saving ratepayers some money.
Thanks, Bob. Any other questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Ferguson.
Yes. That brings us to item F, New Jersey Natural.
On March 31st, 2022, New Jersey Natural Gas Company filed a petition seeking approval to adjust its base rates to provide for cost recovery associated with its infrastructure investment program, which was approved by the board in an order dated October 28, 2020. In the petition and subsequently updated, New Jersey Natural sought to recover the projected revenue requirement associated with the capital investment costs through June 30th, 2022, not yet recovered in base rates of approximately $3.15 million. The parties have executed a stipulation that would allow the company to recover a revenue requirement of approximately $3.15 million, consistent with the update on a provisional basis, subject to refund. As a result of the stipulation, a typical residential customer would see an increase in their monthly bill of 48 cents. Staff recommends that the board issue an order approving the stipulation and direct New Jersey Natural to file revised tariffs by September 30th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Ferguson.
Yes. And that brings us to the final item, Bob, E-Town Gas.
Sure. On July 29th,
Paul. I'm sorry, I called you Bob.
I'll be Bob today.
Can I be Paul?
You can be whatever you want.
On July 29, 2022, Elizabethtown filed a petition seeking approval to suspend its weather normalization clause rate and revise its rates relating to the New Jersey Clean Energy Program component of its societal benefits charge and its on-system margin sharing credit. The parties have determined that while additional time is needed to complete a review of the petition, it is reasonable and in the public interest for Elizabethtown to implement provisional rates. The parties have executed a stipulation that would allow Elizabethtown to suspend its WNC rate and modify its CEP and OSMC rates on a provisional basis, subject to refund. As a result of the stipulation, a typical residential heating customer would see a decrease in their monthly bill of 26 cents. Staff recommends that the board issue an order approving the stipulation and direct Elizabethtown to file revised tariffs by September 30th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments for Bob? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou,
Yes.
President Ferguson.
Yes, thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
I think I speak on behalf of my colleagues, and if I'm not, they'll certainly let me know. When I say we very seriously consider every petition that comes into our office, in particular, the impact that that petition has on our ratepayers. Ratepayers are foremost in our thinking, largely due to, as was mentioned before, price fluctuations. New Jersey's 4 gas companies filed to increase the monthly bill of residential and small commercial customers. BGSS is provided to residential and commercial customers who have not chosen a third-party supplier. And the utilities do not profit from today's action. Let me say that again. The utilities do not profit from the actions that we've taken regarding these increases. As unfortunate as it is to have to vote for these rate increases, I want to remind everyone, particularly those listening, that there are incentives and programs available to assist with your gas and electric bill, including Universal Service Fund, LIHEAP, PAGE, Gift of Warmth, and more. Many programs to assist people who qualify for these programs. As I've said multiple times from this dais, reach out to your utility company. As a reminder, we also increased the income guidelines for assistance, which widens and broadens the number of people who may qualify for one of these assistance programs. So where in the past you may have not qualified for any kind of assistance, you may now qualify. So again, please reach out to your utility company. They are more than willing to work with you. Whether you're in arrears or these increases put you in a particular financial situation, they are willing to work with you. But you have to take the step to reach out and seek that assistance. See if you qualify. And you can certainly go on our website to review the various assistance programs that are available. We are so fortunate here in the state of New Jersey that we have programs that help people, because we're in this together. And we certainly don't want to see anyone in a situation that's untenable. So please, reach out to your utility company and see what arrangement, first see if you qualify, and then see what arrangement can be made. I think it's vitally important. Yes?
Mr. President, thank you. These rising fossil fuel costs that we're seeing in the world markets that are affecting our rates here in New Jersey are just another incentive for us to move more aggressively with our energy efficiency and clean energy programs. I mean, we really need to cut the link with fossil fuels as long as we can do that in a cost-effective way that doesn't impose a burden on the ratepayers. But we're just seeing further evidence that we need to move in the direction of clean energy.
Thank you. There are no items under cable television or telecommunications or water. That brings us to reliability and security. Frank, good morning.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Frank.
This is a matter of the proposed readoption with substantial amendments to NJAC 14:7 natural gas pipelines. Staff is proposing to readopt with substantial changes the board's existing rules contained within the New Jersey Administrative Code, NJAC 14:7 et seq, titled Natural Gas Pipelines, which will expire on December 16, 2022. These rules address the construction, operation, and maintenance of intrastate natural gas transmission and distribution pipelines and provide a mechanism to address violations of these rules. Staff believes that NJAC 14:7 is necessary and appropriate, and that these rules will ensure that New Jersey's natural gas pipeline operators will provide safe, adequate, and proper service. On April 25th, 2022, board staff held a stakeholder meeting to address possible amendments to the natural gas pipeline rules, any issues, and their effect on the stakeholders. After the stakeholder meeting, the board accepted comments from the stakeholder community for a period of 30 days through May 25th, 2022. The readoption proposal contains substantial and technical amendments and reflects changes in technology and pipeline operator practices. Several key highlights of the proposed amendments include the addition of a definition for covered task, the addition of a requirement for pipeline operators to conduct distribution system emergency response drills, and modification of the emergency valve closure drill requirements. Additionally, the proposal adds a new requirement for minimum separation of certain backfill materials, modifies existing requirements to allow the use of alternate tracer wires, and modifies the warning tape requirements. There are also additional reporting requirements in several areas, additional leak grading classification, and repair requirements. Finally, the proposal contains edits to clean up and clarify language, update terminology, links, and references. Staff recommends that the board approve the proposed readoption with substantial and technical changes for publication in the New Jersey Register.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Bob?
Frank, is it it's your belief that these recommended changes will have the effect of increasing the safety of the pipeline operations and repairs?
Yes, sir.
Mariana?
I just want to thank you. You know, I'm a nudge when it comes to rules. Everybody knows that. But it was like a nice, clean package. Everything was well explained, and it actually had the adopted, the proposed rule, the new language highlighted without me having to ask for it. So thank you very much. I think this is
That's always a-
well done, and I wish that we could do something for water infrastructure beyond what we have for the investor-owned utilities, these municipal systems. It just comes to mind Jackson, Mississippi this week, and with deferred maintenance, taking money out of the system and not putting it into it, not having rules and things, that nothing worse than the health and safety of not even being able to have water to even flush the toilet, yet flooding all over. It's the rhyme of the ancient mariner, but I wish we could have something like this for water. So thank you very much. Well done.
We in fact passed some legislation a few years ago in New Jersey that establishes some standards. We just at the time didn't have any enforcement mechanisms, but we're moving in the right direction, I'd like to think.
We still don't have an enforcement mechanism. There is no rule that's been promulgated for, 5-6 years, Bob? I think it's been in place, and thank you, DEP.
One-
Yes.
Yeah, and with respect to our gas pipeline infrastructure and the strength of our rules here in New Jersey have always exceeded, minimum standards, from PHMSA and the like. So I think we, have really always done a great job in making sure that our system is, has integrity, and this will just go even further to preserve that.
I agree, and I want to thank Juan Urena, Jackie Hardy, and John Masiello for their work in it. They did an outstanding job.
And safety certainly is our top priority. And our reliability and security division does an outstanding job in ensuring the fact that safety remains our top priority. And we appreciate that, Frank. And I too want to second what Commissioner Holden mentioned about the submission you made for today's meeting. And I think we made the right choice, Frank.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah.
And just one other suggestion for you and for the industry to keep in mind that the detection of these leaks is really the most paramount thing, to go from a grade 3 to 2 to 1. So how we decide when it shifts up the scale of things is really critical, and I encourage you and the industry to make sure that they employ all of the newest technologies, whether it's satellite detection of methane leaks and whether it's drone technologies, to make sure that the safety and reliability is ensured. So keep up the good work, but let's make sure that we keep pushing the ball forward.
Will do. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
Any other comments? Questions? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon.
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou.
Yes.
President Felice.
Yes. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, sir.
No items under customer assistance. That brings us to clean energy. And Dustin, you have the first 2 items, I see.
Morning, Commissioners.
Let's spend some money.
Imclone Systems, Inc. submitted an application under the Pay for Performance Existing Buildings Program requesting board approval of a financial incentive of $607,680.22 for the implementation of energy conservation measures at a pharmaceutical manufacturing facility in Branchburg, New Jersey. The proposed project has a total cost of $2,957,549.07. If approved, this application would cover the replacement of an existing chiller with a high-efficiency variable speed chiller, a chilled water pump and motor replacement, variable speed drives on chilled water pumps, variable speed drive on hot water pumps, chiller water pump pressure reset controls, chiller optimization through staging controls, cooling tower optimization through staging controls, chiller glycol pump optimization through staging controls, temperature and pressure reset controls for air handling units, and boiler turndown improvement. Annually, this project is anticipated to conserve 2,544,001 kilowatt hours of electricity and reduce peak demand by 513 kilowatts. The proposed project has an estimated annual energy cost savings of $177,895. Staff recommends approval of the application for the total estimated incentive amount.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon.
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou.
Yes.
President Felice.
Yes. We're going to spend more money here, Dustin.
Even more with the next one. So Valley Health System submitted an application under the Combined Heat and Power Program requesting board approval of a financial incentive of $2,567,312.50 for the installation of a CHP gas engine at New Valley Hospital, and that's in Paramus, New Jersey. This proposed project has a total cost of $10,735,213. If approved, this application would cover the installation of one 2007 kilowatt CHP gas engine. The equipment will run on natural gas, utilize waste heat to run an absorption chiller for space cooling, and have black start and islanding capability. Annually, the project is anticipated to generate 14,608,400 kilowatt hours of electricity and is estimated to utilize 32,671 MMBTU of natural gas thermal output. The project will have an estimated annual energy cost savings of $2,365,758. Staff recommends approval of the application for the total estimated incentive amount.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Yes.
Comment. Valley Health System is building a brand-new hospital in Paramus. And this has been in the works for a number of years. And as I recall, BPU took advantage of this development, that they were literally designing a new facility, to reach out to them and inform them of the various clean energy opportunities that were available at a design stage, so that significant changes could be made to the systems for energy savings purposes. So I think that's what we're seeing here. And it will be, I think, a great benefit to the patients who will be paying lower bills, and to an important system in North Jersey.
Good. And that's really the time to get when they're building new. And it's a lot more efficient when you're starting from ground zero and implementing the various initiatives that are available to them. So that's great. Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
President Felice?
Yes. Dustin, thank you.
Thank you.
Phil, I think you're up. And you're going to do item C, benchmarking.
Correct. Good morning, Mr. President and Commissioners.
Good morning.
On May 23rd, 2018, Governor Phil Murphy signed the Clean Energy Act into law as L 2018 C-17. The CEA mandates the following. No later than 5 years after the date of enactment of the Clean Energy Act, the board shall require the owner or operator of each commercial building over 25,000 square feet in the state to benchmark energy and water use for the prior calendar year using the United States Environmental Protection Agency's Portfolio Manager tool. Goal 3.32 of the New Jersey Energy Master Plan calls for the transparent benchmarking energy labeling through a building energy performance and benchmarking program that reduces wasted energy and promotes market-driven increases in energy efficiency. Benchmarking allows commercial building owners and operators to measure and analyze their respective facilities' energy and water use and compare their performance to similar or model buildings. Benchmarking provides building owners and operators with the necessary information to assess opportunities for performance improvements that reduce energy and water use and costs. Energy efficiency program managers can also use data from benchmarking to inform program design and to provide targeted incentives and outreach to qualified commercial buildings. To develop the benchmarking program, the Division of Clean Energy contacted many jurisdictions that already have benchmarking programs and sought feedback from a variety of stakeholders, including commercial real estate interests, utility companies, the United States Environmental Protection Agency, and environmental groups. Staff released a benchmarking program straw proposal for public comment on December 16, 2021, and held a public stakeholder meeting on January 6, 2022, to present the proposal and accepted comments through January 20, 2022. At the July 13, 2022 board meeting, the board approved the procurement of a customer relationship management system and help desk to facilitate communication with and support of building owners to meet the benchmarking requirements. Following review of all of the stakeholder comments and further discussions and research, staff has developed recommendations on the policy and implementation details of New Jersey's first state-mandated benchmarking program. I will now provide a summary of some of the highlights of staff's recommendations. Staff recommends that the covered buildings list be constructed from the classes of buildings in the state's tax assessment database. Staff recommends including commercial buildings, which is Class 4A, apartments designed for families, for 5 families or more, which is Class 4C, and state properties, which is a subset of Class 15C, which represents all public buildings. Preliminary analysis shows that the covered buildings list consists of approximately 30,000 buildings. The Board of Public Utilities Division of State Energy Services will assist state agencies to benchmark these state buildings that are over 25,000 square feet so that the state can lead by example. With regard to campuses, staff recommends applying the 25,000 square feet requirement at the individual building level, such that all buildings on a campus that are over 25,000 square feet will be required to benchmark. The building owners will follow these steps to fulfill their benchmarking obligation. First, BPU will send them a notice informing them that their building is covered. Second, the building owner may apply for an exemption for cases such as when the building is unoccupied or is demolished. Third, if the building owner does not seek an exemption, the building owner will create a portfolio manager account and submit data access requests to their utility or energy and water utilities. Fourth, each of these utilities will apply the so-called 450 rule. Under this rule, if there are fewer than 4 tenants in a building, or if one tenant exceeds 50% of the energy or water use in the building owner must request each tenant's written consent to allow the applicable utility to provide energy and water use data for the consenting tenants. If there are 4 or more tenants in the building and no one tenant exceeds 50% of the energy or water use in the building, the utility provides the aggregated data. If the building owner is also the utility customer, then these last 2 steps are not needed. To support the building owners, BPU will provide training workshops, program information on the website, and a help desk. There are 2 ways for this aggregated building level data to be uploaded into Portfolio Manager. The first way is through Portfolio Manager Web Services, which is a technology that facilitates the secure exchange of data between the utility and Portfolio Manager. The second way is through a Portfolio Manager spreadsheet template. Staff recommends that the regulated electric and gas utilities serving over 50,000 customer accounts implement data access services using web services, and that all other regulated utilities implement access services using the spreadsheet template. Staff's recommendations also seek to protect individual ratepayers' energy and water use information during the data exchange among the building owner, the utilities, and portfolio manager through data aggregation. Staff therefore recommends that all regulated utilities provide aggregated building level data to building owners for the purpose of implementing the benchmarking requirement. As previously noted, staff also recommends the 450 rule and maintains that this data aggregation rule strikes a reasonable balance between ensuring consumer protection of utility data and meeting the EMP's benchmarking transparency goals in order to effectuate compliance with the CEA's benchmarking requirement. Staff proposes obtaining additional stakeholder feedback regarding the details of a public reporting approach that balances public awareness and the transparency goals of benchmarking with the protection of individual consumers' information. The first reporting year is January 2022 to December 2022. Staff recommends that the regulated utilities implement data access services by August 1st, 2023, and that building owners make their data submissions for the first reporting year by October 1, 2023. Staff recommends July 1st as the data submission deadline in subsequent reporting years. On behalf of the Division of Clean Energy, I'd like to thank the commissioners for all of their input, feedback, and support throughout the months of development of this program. I'd also like to thank senior staff, the Division of Law, the General Counsel's Office, the Division of State Energy Services, the Division of Water and Energy, the Division of Reliability and Security, for all of the collaboration and teamwork that went into the development of this program. We have also worked with and benefited from the collaboration and discussions with Rutgers Center for Green Building, NJIT, the New Jersey Division of Taxation, the New Jersey Division of Rate Counsel, and the utility companies, or the utility companies, TRC, and all the stakeholders who provided comments and feedback on this program. I personally want to thank Emily Chang and Dustin Wang and Earl Pierce for keeping me on track with all this and their support. The establishment of this program will implement a key provision of the Clean Energy Act that will lay the foundation for future board efforts to increase energy efficiency in buildings, thereby furthering the state's energy efficiency goals. Staff recommends that the board approve staff's recommendations as detailed in the board order to establish the energy and water benchmarking program for large commercial buildings.
So moved. Second.
Questions, comments?
Thanks very much, Phil, that's great. In terms of costs, have you estimated what these costs might be for some of these smaller landowners? 25,000 is a big number, but for real estate owners, it's kind of small, and some of them are really on the cusp of profitability and bankruptcy. So what costs would you associate with this type of endeavor? And will there be any penalties for non-consent in the future, or like other states have implemented, financial penalties for falling way below benchmarks?
Yeah, so for your first question, it's a time and training commitment to learn portfolio manager if they have no knowledge of it. So I trained myself on it, took me 3 hours, and I did my own house, took me an hour to get my data. So 4 or 5 hours of their time.
Over the course of a year, so it's not entirely, it's
so
not
it's
a prohibitive time commitment.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then plus we're offering the certified benchmarkers so they can hire someone. We're thinking the services will either be free or pretty affordable because the people who will get certified for benchmarking will likely want to promote other services like energy efficiency audits or other kind of energy planning services to their clients.
I encourage the free version.
Yes, we can't enforce that, but that's that's kind of the intent. Your second
The punitive.
penalties.
Yeah, so it's not clear in the law that we have the right to fine them, and so we do not have any fines planned in our program implementation.
All right, keep it that way.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I want to thank you, from the, first presentation to the, final product. I know that I had a lot of comments and
Yes.
appreciate working with you on this, and agree with my fellow commissioner that, this type of endeavor should be, as you said, for the building owners and operators to benefit them. In the past, when we've had through TRC, when through some of our programs did benchmarking, it was indeed free to promote and help get them to, take advantage of energy efficiency measures. And while I know it's not in the legislation, I do know that there are other jurisdictions that are more punitive in how they run their programs. I think it is, if I can speak for, certainly for myself, and I think for my other commissioners, that, we don't want this to be punitive, that it's, our understanding that this should be a help, not something that the data and the information should be used in a manner which is, as I said, punitive on these businesses and individuals. As Commissioner indicated, they have a lot of other things to be concerned about in keeping a business operating these days. We don't want to be one more hurdle that they need to overcome. And, there's also a cost to our utilities. That needs to be said too, to undertake this program and to assist. So, this is, we understand it's not going to be, a freebie that in terms of cost, but hopefully in terms of the services, as you indicated, that might be derived to help these building owners and operators in the future, will be an outgrowth of what's available. But, I just wanted to make it clear that, from this board's perspective, we want to be, a help, not a hindrance in terms of allowing people to take advantage of this information.
Any other questions or comments? Yes?
Well, I think it comes down to carrots, not sticks. And surely, once we get a major user of this benchmarking and they can see the savings, that's something that could be merchandised to others, and I think get them on board. This is towards their benefit. It's not doing anything for us. It's just that we have to implement the law. But, who would turn down a cost savings? So, thank you.
Good, and Phil, you thanked a lot of people, and I want to thank you for pulling this all together. You've done an outstanding job, and I think this is going to be a very successful program as we go along, and as has been mentioned, it was never intended to be punitive. It was intended to save and conserve. It was intended to help promote our energy efficiency and to conserve water and operating costs. And by doing that, the cheapest energy is the energy we don't use. The cheapest water is the water we don't use. And we've seen an awful lot of articles of late regarding water. And we see our fellow citizens, particularly in the Southwest, who have been in this is mind-boggling, a 23-year drought. We fail to realize, I think, sometimes, that of all the utilities we regulate, there's only one we need to survive, and that's water. And it is beyond my comprehension that they can live through, those folks in the Southwest and California, a 23-year drought. I saw something on the news about Lake Mead. It's at its slowest point since its creation. They actually found dinosaur footprints because the water's so low. And it's at a critical point because energy is generated from there. And they say if it goes below 1,000 feet, it will jeopardize the ability to generate energy. There are things happening that are affecting or will affect very shortly all of us and our way of life. Implementing this benchmarking program will allow for energy consumption monitoring, which is, I believe, so important, because knowing how much energy one uses is the first step in reducing the amount of energy you use. And if each and every one of us monitored the amount of energy we use in our own homes. How many of us just open our electric bill, as an example, or our water bill, and just pay it, without looking at what we're actually using? And it's astonishing in many cases, probably, that we don't even realize what we're using. Energy efficiency, energy conservation is a major part, a major initiative of our drive toward clean energy. So, thank you for a job well done, and thanks to all of the divisions for a job well done. And it really shows how most, if not all of our initiatives are agency-wide, where we all come together to ensure the fact that we're putting out the best possible product we can to benefit the 9.3 million people who live in this state. And there are reasons to be proud of what we do. Because I think the Board of Public Utilities has an outstanding story to tell. Under the leadership of Governor Murphy, we have done things that 20 years ago would have seemed impossible. So thank you. Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendations, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Christodoulou?
Yes.
President Ferguson?
Yes. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. And those who are live streaming us, again, please feel free to come to one of our meetings. We'd love to see you in person. And if there are no other items, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.